Hampshire's Simon Katich made a majestic return to Headingley, scoring a magnificent 180 not out to claw his side out of a big hole which they dug for themselves earlier on the opening day of their LV County Championship match against second division high flyers Yorkshire. Jimmy Adams decided to bat first after winning the toss, a decision he may have been regretting when Liam Dawson fell for a duck, nicking Ryan Sidebottom behind for his 550th first-class wicket. Adams followed in the day's sixth over, leg before to Stephen Patterson, as Hampshire began badly, slipping to 6 for 2. So Katich, who represented Yorkshire once in 2002 and made his Test debut against England at this ground 11 years ago, was in very early. Not that that seemed to bother him at all, as he was soon looking in prime form against a side which was searching for its third successive win in the Championship for the first time since 2005, having seen off Leicestershire and Gloucestershire in the last fortnight. Given their start here, they must have thought that they had a real chance of doing that, but Katich clearly had other ideas. He did lose his partner Michael Carberry with 55 runs on the board. Carberry's expansive drive off Ian Wardlaw was deflected into the safe hands of Gary Ballance. Katich was not to be put off by that, however, and he continued to find the boundary at will as his runs came at a canter. It was almost like watching two separate games, with the batsman at the other end struggling for runs, while the Australian made batting look rather simple. James Vince was next out for 11 at 83 for 4. He nicked the in-form Patterson behind to put the home side firmly in the box seat. Much of the rest of the day, though, belonged to Hampshire, and Katich in particular, although Sean Irvine also played his part. This was the pick of his shots as he launched Patterson into the distance for a huge 6. Katich, meanwhile, had raced to a half-century off only 49 balls, and he didn't ease up with that now under his belt. He kept on scoring at the same rate, sometimes hitting the ball in the air, but always finding the gaps with the accuracy of his stroke play. Indeed, his 100 was exemplary. He needed only 99 balls to get there, and he reached it with his 14th 4. It was now his first major contribution since returning to Hampshire, the county he represented between 2003 and 2005, but it was to become a better one still. The early difficulties had evaporated, and midway through the afternoon session, Katich and Irvine were having plenty of fun out in the middle. And this against a side which came into this game brimming with confidence after chasing down a record 400 to beat Gloucestershire in Bristol last week. The partnership between the two was now into 3 figures. Katich was given some help along the way. On 114 he was dropped by Sidebottom at mid-on off a frustrated Adil Rashid. Irvine had less luck, and on 44 he chipped a catch off a leading edge to Patterson to end a 5th wicket partnership on 124, Joe Root with the wicket. Indeed, Root bowled an impressive spell from the Kirkstall lane end, but not even his efforts could stop Hampshire from romping ahead in this game in the final session. Michael Bates has already impressed with the bat this summer, and the evening belonged to both him and his Australian partner. It could have been different. Katich had another life on 144, although in fairness, Rashid did well to get his hands on a fierce drive. How Yorkshire needed that though. Katich, having blazed away for much of the day, now settled in for the very long haul. He soon surpassed the 157 he made against the West Indies in Bridgetown in 2008, his last big score of note. Naturally, Bates played second fiddle, but he too expressed himself throughout the last hour or so, picking off the bowlers easily enough. His own half-century arrived from his 82nd ball. That drive off Sidebottom brought him his 9th boundary in what was an innings of maturity from the 21-year-old. He was past his second 50 of the season and was soon heading towards his highest ever score in the Championship, beating the 87 he made in the defeat to Gloucestershire earlier this year. Bates is a very good prospect and is coming on leaps and bounds this summer. By the end of the day, Yorkshire looked a little shell-shocked. Given their start, they would have perhaps expected to be batting themselves by the end of the day. Instead, they got through 42 overs without taking a wicket, by which time Katich and Bates, now going the quicker of the two, had added 145. By the close, Katich had helped himself to 180 and Bates was on 88, only 5 short of his career best. So Hampshire will feel very happy about life, and that decision to bat first by Adams was certainly justified. They will resume on the second morning looking for many more runs to add to their 352 for 5.